Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
What can happen when you are open to following where life takes you? When you have the opportunity to meet someone and connect and you don't know where it's going to go? Well, that's where we are today with a brand new TV show with our star, Maria Gallucci. I had the honor and privilege of meeting Maria at a conference not that long ago, and there was something about her that just drew me to her, and I knew she was going to be an outstanding TV show host. So here we are today with her pilot episode, and in case you missed the graphic, that's what she said with Maria Gallucci. Real conversations about life, business, relationships, communication, resilience, and the stories that shape us. Let's bring her out, and we're going to talk about what it is that she's been doing and all the incredible contributions that she's making in this world. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you so much. I want to say thank you for making this such a comfortable first experience. Because I have to admit, it's surreal to be sitting here knowing that next week I'll be officially in the host's chair.
Well, it is exciting and thrilling for me as well, because as I mentioned, I just loved your energy and your aura and everything that you're doing in this world. You have this beautiful presence. So for people who haven't met you, they're going to get to know you through this TV show. So you're an author. You're also a top % realtor in Denver. I think it's 1%. And you are very fluent. Your first language is American Sign Language. And you're here as a TV show host. I'd like to just talk about what is it that prompted you to say, you know what, I do want to do a TV show. Let's do it.
I think that just making more awareness out there for people who, for real estate and people who need to feel like they belong. So for me, if I can get my story out there and make people aware and just help people communicate better.
Communication is definitely key. And that's one of the takeaways from your book, Raised in Silence. And I want to just share with our audience, in case they haven't seen this really powerful book, Raised in Silence, What Growing Up as a Child of Deaf Adults Taught Me About Communication, Culture, and Connection. So you mentioned today that you were back up at the top again with Amazon, which is fantastic. So thinking about this book and why you wrote it, what do you think are some themes that you will carry through onto this TV show?
I think communication for sure, because I think a lot of us are afraid to approach people, are afraid to just listen. So I think just the fact of we can bring communication and the way people talk to others in our business and our life and our careers.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that people may not realize when it comes to TV is there's a lot of work that goes into it behind the scenes. You don't just wake up and go, well, that's it, I'm just going to go and get on TV. You have to mentally be prepared. You have to show up with a certain presence, and you will be obviously interviewing guests. And we're putting that link for anyone who's interested in registering. The show is going to be this same time, wherever you're watching. It's on Fridays, and it's at 11 a.m. Eastern time, which is 4 p.m. BST. And we would love to have people join as guests. So you are an expert in your field when it comes to real estate, when it comes to American Sign Language. You've got a best-selling #1 book, and now you are doing television. And so being in the public domain, you're constantly, we all are under scrutiny. And what are some things you'd like people to know about you that may not be obvious from just sitting here today? Who are you behind the scenes?
I think my life, because I grew up in the deaf culture, has been about helping people feel like they're seen and heard and understood. And I think growing up between the deaf and the hearing worlds has taught me communication and connection isn't just about words. It's about connection. It's not for us. So I think conversations can go more slowly if people just listen and make someone feel like they belong.
Belonging is really key. And I've talked about this before because there are many people across the world at this very moment who feel unheard or even invisible. And so with this TV show, Maria, you'll be giving people an opportunity to share their voice, to come on. So who do you think would be a good guest for this particular program?
I think for me, it's anybody who feels like they've been an outsider, or even business leaders who want to learn how to um, communicate better and make sure that someone feels more included, especially in the workspace for clients and people who come through the store or come through their business sense, and salespeople too, because you when you're a salesperson, you all you really do is communicate and connect with people.
Absolutely. So it's a place for people to feel comfortable, to feel seen, and feel heard. So we know the name of the show, right? I'm going to put up the graphic again for anyone who didn't see it. That's What She Said with Maria Gallucci. We know when the show is taking place on Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. BST. So what are some of the topics when you think about it? That's What She Said. We went through a lot of different titles, right, to come to this one. And this one's really catchy. What is it about this title that really drew you in? And you said, you know what, I can align myself with this.
So for me, went through a lot of titles, and so for this one, I was um, thinking, I don't know if I want to do that one because I'm not sure like if it like goes with the show. But then I was talking to somebody. It was actually about you, and I said, "Oh, that's what she said." I thought, "Oh, wait, that is kind of catchy." So I'm like, "Wait, maybe that'd be like a perfect line."
I am really honored by that. Thank you. That means a lot because we are motivated and inspired and influenced by other people, and we want it to be a positive experience. And so, being in television, we open ourselves up to judgment, right? Every day, people might judge what we're wearing, how we sound, but our goal is to bring a positive, reinforced message. And so, with the work that you're doing that spans across, you're doing communication, but in various areas. And so I'd like people to know that when they come here, they can feel comfortable sharing what their background is and what the objective is to actually participating in a show like this. What are your thoughts?
I agree, and I always want to make sure everyone feels like it's a safe space to be in, and you can be your authentic self. And that's what I want to provide people who want to tell their stories, or who want to learn more, and provide that safe space for them, so they can like talk and feel like they belong and not like an outcast.
Absolutely. So I want to share with you that you are, to my knowledge, the first person in real estate that we've had do a show here, which is terrific. And I mentioned to you, I was a licensed real estate agent for a minute. I remember going to an open house, and the street, it was sort of like a narrow street. And then you had to make a quick, sharp turn. And I had to put up the sign with the nails. And I was wearing giant heels. I almost killed myself even getting in the house for the open house. And I thought, you can't put the heat on. You can't use the bathroom. It is not an easy life, that's for sure. So what would you say when people feel challenged? Like, for example, I just said, this isn't for me because I had a full-time job. But to do what it is that you're passionate about, like what you're doing things that you really resonate with and bring you joy. What would you say to people who are out there that maybe they weren't raised in silence, but they were raised with, you've got to do this because you started it. You have no choice because you have family. You have to bring in so much money. And so they never actually find their joy.
I think I've always thought that it's very important to like your job and like where you're at and what you do. And I love being in real estate. I've been an agent for almost 35 years. So for me, it's always been my passion, especially when you see somebody so happy when they're going into the home and they're getting everything. I always break my nails, so I don't like that part of it. But I think that just be patient and find something that you do enjoy and that you do love, because that can take the life out of you, and you don't want that either, because life's too short.
Yeah, it's true. And I was just discussing this on another show that I was doing last night, A Woman's Prerogative, that I think when we're younger, maybe when we're in our 20s, we think we have so much time and that we'll just figure it out as we go. And then I'm now 63 and I say to myself, I have more life behind me than I have ahead of me. So I'm not going to be wasting time doing things that I don't want to do. And so you're really passionate about real estate, and it shows because you're very successful. You're passionate about your book, and it shows because of how you keep staying at the top of the ratings. And you're really passionate about people being able to communicate, even if they don't speak the same language. So how do you incorporate all of this as a realtor?
I think that because I grew up in the deaf and hard of hearing community, and ASL is my first language, it taught me empathy and to listen and see what they are trying to accomplish and do things for their real estate, or what they're trying to sell. So for me, it taught me good listening skills and made it sure like I was doing what's best for them, and not what is best for me, or best for the other people. I think your clients always have to come first.
And I think listening skills, as you mentioned, truly are key, because people will say, I'm listening, but you can tell nothing is going on. They're thinking
Mhm.
about something else. They're looking at something else. And what I really believe is, with the title that you have for the show, that's what she said. We have to actually be listening. What did someone actually say? And then, Maria, what I found is sometimes we use our own judgment to interpret something instead of actually listening. So now we've made it our own instead of taking it as the person gave it to us and maybe asking some powerful questions. So what if people are so locked away in their own judgment, they're not actually hearing what we're saying?
I think learning that I didn't have to do everything perfect, and growing up, I felt responsible for helping others and getting things right. And I think so much time we worry about the right thing to say, and we assume. And I think that making assumption is huge to not do, because we don't know what they're going through. So I think that growing up in that community helped me to make sure that I don't assume, and you always put yourself in their perspective before you judge, or not judge at all.
And that's one of the things that we've been talking about here at USA Global TV and Radio when we're interviewing people. We don't make judgments. And if someone has a completely different perspective, we don't look horrified, make all kinds of sounds. We just listen to what they have to say, and then we continue on. So as the fact that you are now a TV show host officially, I am moving you over to the other side of the screen. Congratulations. So what are you most looking forward to in taking over this role?
I think in interviewing people and getting at other people's perspectives and what they want in life, and trying to help them navigate what they want to do, and just help others, I think.
And it will be your role to create a safe space for people so that they feel comfortable in sharing. So how do you envision doing this? You do it every single day, but using your communication skills and your listening skills, what will you do so the person who's over here on my side, they feel comfortable?
Um, ask them like what they want, and what they're doing in life. And then, so like for me, I was going to ask you said something, like, because you've interviewed so many incredible people over the years. So what is it about someone else's story that immediately grabs your attention? And for me, I want to do that, like have them grab other people's attention and make them feel good about themselves.
Absolutely. Well, a quick backstory to your question. I have ulcerative colitis. I've had it for 35 years. So you're interviewing me now. And I felt like no one was listening to me, because people would say, have you tried this? Do you think it's genetic? Do you think it's stress? Do you think you're bringing it on yourself? Did you try Pepto-Bismol? And I'm thinking, I have an incurable disease. No, 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 and no. And so when I first started my radio show out of New York, which was called Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, it was really for people from the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation who were interested in sharing their stories, because I understood, because I'm going through it. It doesn't go away. And so I realized that if someone is in a position of compassion and empathy because they're going through it, people naturally feel comfortable because you understand what it is.
Exactly. And I love that. And I feel like too, because when people interview during the interview, they do feel comfortable, especially when you make them feel like they're there, and that they feel like seen and heard. So was there anything like during an interview that surprised you or stayed with you for a long time until it ended?
We have some shows that are about medical issues and challenges that people go through, and the stories they're really very painful. And so I produce a lot of these shows, and I'll be behind the scenes like bawling. But what I tell people is, when you're actually the one doing the interview, if you completely lose it, it's very hard to go on with the show. And the person whom you're interviewing, they know their story. They're probably nervous sharing what it is. And so you want to show some compassion and empathy, but at the same time, you don't want to lose control of the show. So there have been many times when I felt physically sick. I just felt so bad for what people were going through. And I would say, I'm sorry that you're going through this. And I really think you're brave for what you're sharing. And at the same time, the show must go on, right? Because people are tuning in and they want to see and hear more content. So I would say medical issues, absolutely. People who've lost everything, people who have been in natural disasters, people who live in places in the world that are extremely violent and they're fearing for their life every day. We had one show that was about human trafficking. And we actually had the people on who had this women's shelter that they were bringing people to. And so we were interviewing them. You couldn't see their faces. But after the show, allegedly, I got an email. I don't know who it was from, but they said they were from a cartel and that we needed to shut the show down or our lives were in jeopardy. So yeah, that was pretty scary. And so you take those things seriously because you're talking about people's lives. So I would say that was the one that really impacted me the most.
I know, and I think that sometimes what I love about conversations like this is like you never really know what they're going to do, where it's going to go, and so sometimes one sentence or something like that can completely change the way you think about something or what they do. And I know that you've been doing this for such a long time, and has hosting changed you as a person?
I would say yes. That's a great question. And you're doing very well in the interviewer role, by the way. Congratulations. I would say that it's changed me in a few ways. First of all, I was very, very insecure. And I think the ulcerative colitis, and I have facial eczema, so I inject Dupixent every other week. But these things really sort of left a deep impression on me that I was never good enough. And especially with ulcerative colitis, I would go out on a date, like this is, so long ago, and people would say, oh, you're dirty, you're disgusting. I don't want anything to do with anyone with this disease. And so when I started taking my focus and putting it on other people by interviewing them, I started to get more confidence because I wasn't honed in on what was wrong with me. I was honed in on how I can make someone feel and giving people the opportunity to know that I'm actually present and listening.
Yeah, I love that because I stuttered. I stuttered my entire life. So I was always made fun of, even just being a CODA, which is a child of deaf adults, as it is, like people were already always making fun of us. So for me, like, I think doing the book and the interviews and stuff made me just feel better about myself and not be so insecure about when I stutter or when I talk and do things like that.
And you have beautiful communication skills. I think one thing that you've really brought a highlight to is, especially as women, we get judged so much. And I hate to say this, but by other women. And when I was in corporate, I used to feel that women had like, they were ready to stab you in the back at any moment because they didn't want you to move up. And what I found through the broadcasting and through this platform of USA Global TV and Radio is that we really support each other. We want each other to do well. And I really encourage people to collaborate. I had worked at an in-person television station before all of this, and I also had a radio show, and the person who owned the television station said, you can't do radio and do this. And I said, well, why not? And the person said, because we don't want you with, with another audience. And I said, why can't people be out there as much as they want on any platform they want? We don't own people, right? We have the ability to so that's what we really promote here is collaboration. And I think that's one of the things for me, being a TV show host, I feel like I'm also a leader because I'm leading a team of people. And so I have to continuously up my education and my training.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think that a lot of people, they fear the unknown, or they're judgmental, and I think that that's why my motto was just try, because if you really just try instead of looking at it as a assumption or judgmental area, I mean, you can change lives.
Yeah. While you're in Spotlight, tell us about some of the lives you feel you've changed.
I feel like I've changed my kids' life because I taught them growing up that you never make fun of people. You always try to look at the better in people and the good of people. And so I think that they brought them on to their kids and to other people and their friends. So I think that teaching them empathy and not to judge people and put yourself in their shoes, I think that went a long way with my kids.
And you're setting the stage really for future generations. And I think that's so important. So when people out there feel like they have nothing to contribute or no one's listening to them, I always suggest find a way to share your experience that is really helping someone else come out of their shell or showing someone compassion or empathy. And television is a great way to do that. So I'm going to hand it back to you to keep doing the interview. But one thing that I will lead in with is when you think about that's what she said, basically taking content that someone else shared and maybe repurposing it or highlighting it so that others can learn from it.
Yeah, I think so too. And I imagine that you've met everybody from every walk of life. So what do you think that most successful people have in common?
I think that there's a passion, an incredible passion that drives people to keep doing what they're doing. And I know for me, it's never been about money. And believe me, I've gotten a lot of abuse over the years saying you should be more focused on money. But money isn't what makes me tick. What makes me tick is knowing that I helped someone. And I feel like the people who are successful, and you know this yourself, it's about lending a hand to someone else. It's about saying, you know what? I believe in you. Let me support you in whatever way that might be. And I also think it's that whatever it is that is driving you, you've got to accomplish it. For me, I have certain things that I do every day that I really don't want to do. They're very tedious, a lot of administration on the YouTube channels, et cetera. So that's the first thing that I do. And I get up half an hour earlier just so I can do the tedious work. And so sometimes people will take whatever is difficult, boring, challenging, and they'll put it off. Oh, I'll do that later. I do it right away. Let me get it right away. And I think the other thing is I don't take the easy path. Even when it comes to working out and I'm 63, I'm pushing myself like a 20-year-old because if not now, then when? So I kind of feel like that's the other thing, that we don't take time for granted. It's not like I know people who would say, I'm going to wear that for a special occasion, or I'm going to save this china for, no, I'm using it today. Let me tell you, today is the day. And so people will say, well, you wear your makeup and you're always dressed up and yeah, because I could be dead tomorrow. So today is the day. So I think that also, being respectful of the fact that we all have time, and time is precious. It's a gift.
I agree. And I usually get ready every single day as well. But I think for me, success is making someone happy or going to the gym. I need to be better at that, going to the gym. But for me, like, I think that because we never know how long we have to live at all. And so I think that you always live today as it's your last day.
Absolutely. My motto, and I even had a store on eBay way back in the dark ages, but it was called Not a Dress Rehearsal, because this is the time that you have. So when I talked to you about having a TV show, you didn't say, let's meet next year and let's discuss. You're like, you know what, let's do it now. And I love that. I really appreciate that. That says a lot about you, that you are a go-getter. And obviously that's why you're in the top of your field across all categories.
Yeah, and I think that because well, it's just like with my book, like it was 15 years in the making, and every year I kept saying, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and then like 15 years later, I did, but it took that long, and then finally, I'm just like, I have to do it because if I keep saying I'm going to do it, then you never will, and you never know how long you have because both, I mean, my mom passed away in her 40s, and my dad in his very early 70s, which is very young, and so for me, it's like you're always you have to do what you want to do. I feel like as soon as possible, and not wait or procrastinate for it.
Very true. And thanks for sharing that background about your family. I know that's tough. I've lost both of my parents. And my mom was my best friend, but she used to say way back in the day when I was younger, she used to say, you're from the me generation. Everything is about me. And, you know, that really made an impression on me because as I'm older, I kind of look back and think, well, what did that actually mean? But I think what it meant was seizing the day and doing what you need to do because you may not have that option tomorrow. And we know stories, we've heard stories, we've read stories where everything was fine in someone's life and an hour later was completely different. And
Exactly.
they didn't know, were they going to recover, you know, were they going to get another chance? So to me, I feel like seize the day and do what it is now.
Yeah, I love that what she said to you because it's so true. I think that you have to you never know what's going to happen next, and so and you know you could, like you're saying, you could wake up, you could be in a car accident, you could do anything. So and anything can change in a blink of an eye.
I'm going to switch over to interviewer. How do you think, or how do you anticipate that your life is going to change now that you're a TV show host?
I don't. I don't know. I hope to make a lot of connections with people, and I hope to make people feel like they're belong and they know that they can fit in and and don't feel like an outcast. And if anybody is making fun of you or doing anything like that, that's their issue. It's not you. So don't ever take it personal. So I hope I can make people feel better.
Absolutely. I love that. And I noticed that you have your own social media posting and your own following and your videos are outstanding. And so you're used to being in the public domain. There are plenty of people out there who will say, "Oh, I don't want to be a TV show host because I don't want the publicity." I know people who own businesses who are not on LinkedIn, and I'll say, I don't really understand that. Like, why aren't you promoting yourself? What is it that you feel will happen? But sometimes people don't want people looking at them. But at the same time, let's say that your higher power, God, whomever, tapped you to be that person to drive change and to influence people. Then how do you do it if you're not in the public domain?
Exactly. And I think that people, it's the fear of the unknown. And for me, I'm actually very shy in nature. So I get really nervous. I'll hold my thumbs while I'm talking or I'll do anything like that. But for me, I want to get the story out so people can feel like they can be vulnerable and they can just try and try to put themselves out there. And everyone's going to have negative feedback and everyone's going to be haters as they say, but I think that what my dad actually taught me was that it's not me and it's them, and that's what, even though it does hurt when that happens, because I mean everybody has feelings and of course it gets hurt, but I just have to keep in mind that it's not me, it's them.
Very true. And especially on social media, there's a lot of hatred. And I've shared this before, but I just unfollow people. When I see hatred, find something to be positive about. Let's inspire other people instead of putting all that hatred out there. But I do think the hatred can come from an incredible amount of fear. fear, maybe imposter syndrome. They're all negative energies. If you think about, there's a chart where all the emotions are listed. I think there's over 200 of them. And when you get to the bottom half, that's where the lower emotions, the lower vibrations, when you walk into a room, people can feel your energy. And when I met you, I felt your high level of energy. But so for people out there, maybe they're going through a really hard time and they can't see how things are going to get better. And then they look on social media and they see that someone's doing well, or they look great. And it's kind of like, oh, well, what about me? So a question I have for you is, how do you think we can use TV and social media in a positive way, knowing that there's a lot of strife in the world?
I think never say anything negative. Like for me, I do the same thing. I'll either defriend people or take them off, because I think that being negative, I mean, it takes so much more emotion to be negative. And so for me, I've never understood, especially being within the LGBTQ plus community because of my son. Like I've seen the stuff that they do to him, and it's so mean. And I don't understand why people care, because they're not affecting their lives. So for me, I've never been judgmental, because I've gone through all that stuff, and I've seen how it makes people feel. And I think that if we just like worry about our own self and not what other people are doing, because it's not affecting you whatsoever. And especially with it being Pride Month, I see so much hate online, and it blows my mind, because I don't know why people just can't love one another, because we're all human and we all have the same emotion. And all of us, no matter who it is, we have one thing we want is to feel seen, heard, understand, and belong. And so for me, I always try to avoid all the hatred, and try to make people feel good about themselves and positive.
I completely agree with you. And I remember my parents took me out to lunch in New York decades and decades ago, and I couldn't believe how cool it was. There were people speaking all different languages and they looked totally different, and I absolutely loved it. But I had a conversation with someone from high school about it, and they didn't like it. They wanted everyone to look the same and sound the same. And so what I found is there are different places in the world where looking different, sounding different is really appreciated. London is one of those places. That's part of the reason why I absolutely love London. But we can't get people to change their perspective, right? We can influence as we can, but I think the more that we're here celebrating diversity and acknowledging the fact that we each bring something to this life, the better the world is.
I think so too, and I feel like all of us are different. None of us are the same. We are all different, and so I think that once we realize that, oh well, they're just different than me, and it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect by any means. It just means like we have to have the understanding that we're not all the same, and we never will be, even with language, like everything. Like we are all different. If we just go into the world knowing that, hey, I'm just going to love somebody, then one kind word, I have always said, one kind word can change that person's entire day, and even their life. So for me, I try to live my life by that.
I love the fact that you live like that, because it really does make a difference. And as I mentioned, people can feel your energy and your aura. And I just want to bring up a comment. We don't usually bring up comments during the live show, but we have a comment here from Verna Haywood, who is in London. Hello, Verna. It's so important to be supportive of one another. As a cancer survivor, I know the importance of community. Dr. Jacalyn Maria, you're covering some wonderful topics in your interview. Thank you so much, Verna. Verna has recently joined our team also. So she's unstoppable resilience. And Maria, I really want to thank you for your trust and faith and coming on board with USA Global TV and Radio. And I want to leave the last few minutes to you to talk to the audience, to just ask them to consider coming on as a guest.
Yeah, I would love anybody who feels like they want to learn how to connect more, and just feel like you want to make people feel like they are heard and seen, and they belong. So for me, the show's about anybody, and we could talk about anything that makes you feel comfortable, and anybody that, or anything that you think that you would make a difference in someone else's life. And so I think I'm not sure how people would respond if like with my story, because it's a vulnerable thing to share your story. But I've learned that where real connection, that's where the real connection happens, is when you're being open and then you're sharing stuff. So I think the show's going to be about anybody who wants to feel like they belong and anyone who wants to have a safe space.
And your vulnerability is part of what draws people in. So on the screen right now, we have the link where people can actually click to go ahead and register. And later, this show will be uploaded to the podcast platforms, which are voice only. So we've got television and then voice. And so you can go to our website, usaglobaltv.com, book your session. Maria, you've done an outstanding job on your first episode. What's coming up for you? How are you feeling?
I feel good. And I just want to say thank you for joining us at That's What She Said. And then and then I keep asking questions, keep listening, and keep having conversations that matter. And then we'll see you next week.
And Maria, before we go, what's the best way for people to purchase your book, Raised in Silence?
So I'm on all the platforms. So I'm on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and then you can go to raisedinsilence.com, and that will take you to all of the sites for it.
Fantastic. And for anybody out there who is in the real estate market, who can you help and where?
I'm directly in Colorado, so I do Colorado, but I have ASL Realty, which is a nationwide real estate company that helps find people out of state. So I'm nationwide.
Fantastic. So we're sharing all of these visuals for anybody who's watching on the TV. Thank you again. Well, I'm going to say goodbye, and I know you just told people that they can come back next week, but anything else you want to say, and we'll close out the show. Thank you for this opportunity, Maria.
Thank you so much. Love you guys.
Hey, you. Psst. Yes, you. Watching this right now. Are you creating content, a blog, a podcast, a newsletter, going live on Instagram or TikTok, and still not seeing real visibility or growth? Here's why. Anyone can post, anyone can go live, but not everyone is positioned to be taken seriously. Right now, people are going to YouTube to search for experts, for answers, for credibility. So while you're putting in the work, someone else is being seen as the authority. Not because they know more, because they're positioned better. Now imagine this: your own professionally produced TV show, marketed, distributed, optimized with SEO so people can actually find you. Not just seen, but searchable, discoverable, positioned. You're trained, you're coached, you're guided. No experience necessary, but you do have to be coachable, because this is about stepping into a higher level. This isn't about doing more, it's about doing it right. We've already built the platform, 2 YouTube channels, a global audience, a Silver Creator Award. So the question is, how much longer are you going to rely on temporary visibility when you could be building real authority? If you're ready to be seen differently, go to usaglobaltv.com and apply to host your own show. This is for individuals who are serious about investing in their visibility, their credibility, and their growth. If that's you, we're ready. USA Global TV and Radio, where your voice becomes your platform. Executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Videographer, Paul Garcia. Voiceover, Ed Vargas. All rights reserved. This production is the exclusive property of the USA Global TV and Radio and may not be reproduced, distributed, or used without written permission.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.